we know how the story ends with you shaking Tom Holland's hand right after he comes out of the bathroom. So which
presumably he washed his hands.
Well, take us back to your master plan to get into children's publishing, and from there, eventually meet Tom Holland.
It started when I was 4. No. It's funny. I'm a child of immigrants. I'm first gen born here, and it was very much assumed that I was going to be a doctor. I have an older brother, a younger sister, and it was like doctor, lawyer, engineer. That's what's coming out of the family. Did not work out for any of us. My older brother's an actor. My little sister's a graphic designer. Nope. But so it wasn't until I got to undergrad in college and started, I've always been a reader. I've always been much, much better on that. So I'm terrible at math and science. And I remember talking to my brother, who had already at that point been like, no, I want to be an actor. Like, I'm not going to go this route. And he was like, why are you pre-med? Why are you taking these classes that you hate when what you're good at is reading and writing? Like, that's what you love. And he met somebody who worked in publishing. He met someone who worked at Tor, which is a sci-fi imprint of Macmillan. And I had a conversation with her, and she was like, you should come intern. So I did an interview, and I interned at Tor Publishing one summer when I was in undergrad, and it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And it kind of was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to be involved in the world of books. And then children's publishing was a little bit of an accident. I actually met someone when I moved to New York who worked in publishing, and she was like, don't go into children's. It's a hole. Once you fall into it, you'll never get out. But I interviewed at Scholastic when I was like 24, I think, and I got the job, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, I work, in a building where the Babysitters Club was published. Like, that is so, so cool. And it's cool getting to like access these books that can be formative for children and be, do for them what books did for me when I was a kid, which was like create a lifelong love of reading. And then I did that for a long time. It was very cool. But of course, as we know, New York City is very expensive to live in. And so I got some side hustles, writing geek culture stuff on the side. And one of those eventually was sci-fi.com, writing for Sci-Fi Fangirls. And I had an editor who was super into just kind of the wacky stuff I pitched. So things like, I think I have an article that's called Things That Are the Same Size as Tom Holland, because I thought it was really funny that Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo came out on stage and were the same size, because I just wouldn't have anticipated that. And she was like, sure, write this weird post. And so somebody gave my name to an editor at Disney, and when they emailed me about potentially writing the Spider-Man book, I was able to send them back these absurd, kind of silly, funny posts I'd written for Sci-Fi, and they liked the voice a lot, and that's how I got the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That worked out.
It was like every step taken closer and closer to get to Spidey.
So when you get that job and you're going to write the Spidey book, how do you celebrate something that huge?
I didn't. I actually spent like 2 full days being like, I can't do this. Who am I to write Spider-Man? What? And again, my friend Satna was like, you have to say yes to this. You cannot say no just because you think you can't do it. And then it all happened during New York Comic Con, actually. Like, I had a call with the editor. I was like freelance working it was very stressful. And then they were like, okay, we're going to need a book in like 6 weeks. So I didn't really celebrate until everything was over and the final draft was in. And like,
Fair enough.
Awesome. It was awesome, but it was also like running around, like just stressing all the time, but also being like, I'm writing a Spider-Man book and I'm not allowed to tell anybody.
So when you're writing Spider-Man, I mean, are you playing the movie soundtracks, or do you have a playlist that's just for envisioning swinging around? Or
I have my standard movie soundtracks that I listen to when I'm writing, which are a lot of like Googling like the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack ambient. So it's like all these like really like pretty ambient soundtracks are just what I need. But it was a wild experience because I had to read the script for the movie, a version of the script. So they brought me into the Marvel offices in New York City, and it was the most hilarious experience because they were like, put me in a room, like 4 pieces of paper and a laptop, and we're like, okay, you have 2 hours with this script. Take as many notes as you can, and that's what you're gonna use. We're gonna scan them and send them back to you. And it was just a version of the script. Like, I didn't even read the finished version. They didn't tell anybody anything. So I was writing the book based off a version of the script that was then changed or different by the time the movie came out.
I mean, the villain was still the Vulture, right? So, I'm sorry, no,
it was
would have
Far
been.
From Home.
I'm terrible. I confused my Spider-Mans.
It's both very, very good villains.
Well, that's the one that if I were in that spot where I did a junket, if I met Jake Gyllenhaal, I'd be like, oh my God, Brokeback Mountain, I love it so much, and then that would be great. But if it was Michael Keaton, oh my God, my entire persona of what it is to be a man, a Batman from young childhood on, I'd
Michael Keaton
just sink into the seat, never to return.
All he would have to do is like raise his eyebrows at me, and I would be like, "You're the coolest person I've ever met in my life."
He'd be like, "Hey, nice question." I'd say, "Michael Keaton said I'm the most amazing writer that ever lived." Oh my God. That's been one rough thing about quarantine for COVID. And there's been so many rough things. Like, my beloved Wonder Woman 1984 that I was looking forward to all year has been moved back, and I can't come out soon enough. But I keep reading movie news that I'm so excited about. I'm like, but is it real though? Is it really going to happen? So I want Michael Keaton to come back as Batman in the Flashpoint paradox. That would be the most amazing thing that could ever happen.
No, but
when's it going to happen though? Are they going to shoot it 2 years?
2020 is a wash, man. This is just the year that never was.